Imagine brewing a forgotten herbal mixture that could ease migraines more effectively than modern pills, a secret once whispered between medieval healers. Were these everyday cures or clandestine curses? Today we're taking a look at 15 forgotten medieval witch recipes that deserve a modern revival. What if a smear of pig fat, henbane, and deadly nightshade could catapult your mind sky high? Our first recipe, the infamous moonlit flying ointment. Whispered about in witch trial transcripts, this mysterious salve allegedly let practitioners fly to midnight gatherings, or at least hallucinate convincingly enough to believe they did. In 15th century inquisitors' accounts, women confessed, often under torture, mind you, to anointing themselves with this potent mixture. The core ingredients read like a pharmacist's nightmare. Belladonna, whose name literally means beautiful lady despite being deadly poisonous. Henbane, which can induce vivid hallucinations, all mixed with simple pig fat and beeswax as carriers. The ritual wasn't just about slathering it on. Practitioners carefully applied it to pulse points and, yes, even broom handles, which they'd straddle. The psychoactive compounds absorbed through the skin, especially through intimate areas, creating sensations of floating, flying, and transcendent visions. What's fascinating is how this blurred the lines between drug-induced ecstasy and what many truly believed was real flight. Modern scientists suggest these alkaloid-rich plants could indeed trigger such convincing hallucinations that the witches genuinely experienced soaring through night skies. A medieval psychedelic experience, if you will, but one that could easily prove fatal with the wrong dose. Could a humble kitchen brew outwit the Black Death itself? Our next concoction comes with a tale of survival against impossible odds. Legend credits 4 grave robbers in plague-ravaged Marseille who slathered this herb-spiked vinegar on their skin before looting the infected dead, and somehow lived to tell the tale. As the Black Death swept through Europe between 1347 and 1351, claiming up to half the population, these thieves supposedly remained untouched. Their secret? A potent blend of rosemary, sage, wormwood, and garlic steeped in red wine vinegar. They'd soak rags in this pungent liquid and breathe through them while working, creating a surprisingly effective barrier. What medieval minds saw as magic, modern science recognizes as legitimate antimicrobial properties. The volatile compounds in these herbs, particularly thymol in wormwood and allicin in garlic, actually do kill certain bacteria and fungi. Were these witches stumbling onto principles of medicine centuries ahead of their time? The recipe spread through whispers, saving countless lives, while its creators faced the gallows not for witchcraft, but for theft. Today, variations of this formula still appear in natural remedy books, a testament to the power of folk ingenuity born from desperate times. Why did medieval surgeons risk unearthing a screaming root just to knock you out? Our third recipe reveals how physicians would secretly bribe local witches for mandrake elixirs. Anesthetic if dosed correctly, lethal if not. The mandrake plant came wrapped in terrifying folklore. Its human-shaped root supposedly shrieked when pulled from the earth, killing anyone who heard it. The elaborate harvest ritual read like a death-defying stunt. Arrive at midnight, plug your ears with wax, tie a hungry dog to the plant, then throw meat just out of reach so the animals lunging would uproot the mandrake while you stood safely distant. Reality was less dramatic, but no less potent. Mandrake contains powerful alkaloids like scopolamine and hyoscyamine that induce sedation, memory loss, and pain relief. A primitive but effective surgical anesthetic centuries before ether. Witches would create tinctures by steeping the root in alcohol, carefully controlling dosage through generations of dangerous trial and error. The church officially banned mandrake preparations, driving their production underground through smugglers' tunnels and midnight forest exchanges. Surgeons, desperate for something to offer suffering patients, became some of witchcraft's most reliable customers, creating an unlikely alliance between official medicine and those branded as heretics. Would you drink liquid bravery before facing your greatest fear? Our fourth recipe reveals how witches fermented honey with hawthorn, chili, and yarrow to steal the heart of nervous knights before battle or nobles facing treacherous court politics. This golden-hued mead was more than just medieval Dutch courage. At its core was hawthorn, a plant modern herbalists still use for heart health. Medieval healers noted how it strengthened the heartbeat without racing it, perfect for steady hands in combat. They combined it with a relatively new trade route novelty of chili pepper, believed to kindle inner fire, and blood-stopping yarrow, thought to prevent fatal wounds. The ritual around consuming it was just as important as the drink itself. The recipient would toast with the phrase, "to fear undone," while facing the rising sun, then drain the cup in one draught. This psychological component, convincing warriors they were now protected, likely contributed as much to its effectiveness as any herbal properties. Battlefield accounts tell of soldiers who seemed eerily calm amid chaos after consuming this brew. Whether pharmacological effect or powerful placebo, Heartfire Mead represents how medieval witchcraft often blended biochemistry with psychology, understanding that courage comes as much from the mind as from any potion. Could colored salt really keep demons outside your door? Our fifth remedy explores a protective barrier that once ringed the thresholds of homes from Spanish villages to Germanic forests. Crafted with black salt, ash, and crushed eggshells, this witch salt created an invisible boundary no malevolent spirit could cross. This recipe emerged from the fascinating cultural crossroads of Iberian folk Catholicism and Moorish alchemical traditions. Each ingredient carried powerful symbolism: salt for purification and preservation, ash representing death and transformation, and eggshells symbolizing rebirth and renewal. Together, they formed a potent psychological shield against the unseen threats that terrified medieval minds. The ritual application was precise. At sunset on the new moon, the mixture would be sprinkled in an unbroken line across doorways, windowsills, and chimneys, any entrance where unwelcome entities might slip through. The distinct black-speckled appearance served as a visible reminder that the home was protected. Modern comparison might be drawn to sage smudging practices, but witch salt served another purpose beyond spiritual cleansing: social control. Village elders could easily see which homes maintained their protective boundaries, creating community pressure to uphold these practices and, by extension, conformity to broader social norms. What if a tomato-like fruit could win you the perfect partner, or land you on trial for witchcraft? Our sixth recipe revolves around early love apples, exotic fruits rumored to be powerful aphrodisiacs when prepared in cauldrons under the light of a full moon. Before tomatoes became everyday food, they were objects of deep suspicion and fascination in medieval Europe. Their bright red color and distant relation to deadly nightshade made them perfect candidates for love potions, dangerous, alluring, and rare. Witches would carefully slice them into copper cauldrons, adding precious saffron threads, honey, and even powdered pearl for those who could afford such luxury. The broth would simmer exactly from moonrise until the moon reached its zenith, then be strained through linen and served in paired cups to the love-struck and the love-sought. Courtly romance literature often made veiled references to such brews, especially in tales where unlikely matches occurred seemingly overnight. Tragically, these harmless botanicals contributed to countless witch accusations. When daughters of wealthy families suddenly developed passion for unsuitable suitors, parents often blamed enchantment rather than natural attraction. The witch with her love apple broth made a convenient scapegoat for the inconvenient reality of human desire crossing social boundaries. Why would anyone swallow a toad's eye to cure a blemish? Our seventh concoction reveals how jewel-like toadstones, actually fossil fish teeth, were ground with vinegar and dabbed on stubborn warts with surprising effectiveness. Medieval people believed these small, polished stones came from the heads of ancient toads. The reality was less fantastical, but still fascinating. They were actually the fossilized teeth of lepidotes, an extinct fish from the Jurassic period. These fossils, with their smooth dome shape and natural polish, perfectly resembled what imagination might conjure as a toad's third eye. The treatment followed sympathetic magic principles, like cures-like. Since toads were associated with warts in folk belief, a stone from a toad should logically cure them. Herbalists would grind these fossils to powder, mix with vinegar until it formed a paste, and apply directly to warts under the waning moon. This remedy created fierce rivalry between university-trained apothecaries and village witches, with both claiming superior knowledge of toadstone sources and preparation. Meanwhile, less scrupulous merchants sold fake toadstones at exorbitant prices, creating perhaps medieval Europe's strangest luxury counterfeit market. Whether through the mild acid in the vinegar or the placebo effect, warts often did disappear, ensuring the toadstone's legendary status lived on. Could a leaf paste knit bones faster than modern casts? Our 8th recipe uncovers how medieval healers mixed comfrey leaves, egg whites, and beer mash into a powerful poultice, wrapping broken bones in linen splints for remarkable recovery. During the bloody 100 Years' War, battlefield medicine was primitive at best. Amidst this carnage, both official and underground healers discovered that comfrey, nicknamed knitbone, substantially accelerated healing when applied to fractures. Modern science confirms what these practitioners intuited. Comfrey contains allantoin, a compound that genuinely stimulates cell proliferation and tissue repair. The preparation was methodical. Fresh comfrey leaves were pulverized with mortar and pestle, then mixed with stiffened egg whites and spent grain from beer brewing. This sticky paste was spread onto clean linen, wrapped around the properly set fracture, then bound with wooden splints and left undisturbed for 9 days, a sacred number in healing traditions. Church-licensed practitioners and clandestine witches fiercely guarded their variations of this recipe, each claiming superior results. What neither group fully understood were the risks. Comfrey contains pyrrolizidine alkaloids that can damage the liver when absorbed through skin repeatedly. This powerful medicine, like many in the medieval pharmacopoeia, walked the knife edge between healing and harm, effective yet potentially dangerous with prolonged use. Could headaches decide your fate in a heresy trial? Our 9th remedy explores how persistent migraine visions branded many women as possessed, while feverfew-infused white wine offered clandestine relief that might save them from the stake. In an era when unexplained pain was often attributed to demonic influence or divine punishment, women suffering from migraines faced particular danger. Their reports of seeing flashing lights or auras before pain struck sounded suspiciously like supernatural visions to inquisitors. Enter the healers who quietly produced this medicinal wine. The process followed strict lunar timing. Fresh feverfew flowers were harvested at dawn, then steeped in young white wine for exactly 9 days during the waxing moon phase. This extraction method optimized the plant's parthenolide content, a compound modern science has confirmed helps prevent migraine attacks. What's remarkable is how this herbal remedy anticipated modern preventative approaches by centuries. Today's migraine medications often work on similar principles to this ancient brew. For medieval women, this wine represented more than pain relief. It was a shield against the gendered diagnosis of hysteria that could lead to far worse treatment than the headache itself. Each discreet bottle passed between women's hands carried the quiet revolution of self-administered healthcare. What if your perfume could kill both wolves and unwanted suitors? Our 10th recipe reveals how hunters smeared aconite-infused fat balm on arrows and wrists alike, flirting with death itself through a poison so potent it earned the name Queen of Poisons. Aconite, or wolfsbane, grows wild in European mountain regions, its purple-hooded flowers as beautiful as they are deadly. Medieval alchemists developed elaborate methods to extract its potent neurotoxin, aconitine, without killing themselves in the process. Wearing thick leather gloves, they would macerate the roots in animal fat, creating a waxy salve that paralyzed whatever it touched. Hunters primarily used it to poison arrow tips for wolf hunts, but folklore linked the plant to werewolf transformations as well. Some believed wolfsbane could either trigger or prevent the change from human to beast, making it both weapon and protection. Chillingly, court records reveal it also served as an untraceable political assassination tool when applied to goblet rims or doorknobs. Modern forensic archaeology has confirmed this dual use through residue analysis on medieval arrowheads, revealing traces of aconitine centuries later. This deadly balm reminds us that medieval witch recipes often walked a dangerous line between protection and predation, healing and harm. Knowledge that was power, but power that could condemn its wielder. Could sweetness halt seeping buboes? Our 11th concoction unveils how monastery witches, nuns practicing forbidden medicine behind abbey walls, created a potent antimicrobial tonic by blending raw honey, crushed garlic, and wine must during plague outbreaks. This recipe follows the ancient oxymel tradition, combining acidic and sweet elements to extract medicinal properties. The process was simple but precise. 21 peeled garlic cloves, 3 times 7, a powerful numerical combination, were crushed in a wooden bowl, then stirred into unheated honey and fermenting grape juice. This mixture was sealed in earthenware jars and buried under the full moon for a lunar month. What medieval healers couldn't see was the powerful chemistry at work. Raw honey naturally releases hydrogen peroxide, while crushed garlic creates allicin, both genuine antimicrobial compounds. Modern research has confirmed these ingredients can fight bacteria, something these early practitioners intuited through careful observation. During Black Death outbreaks, honey traders often price gouged desperate towns, leading to bitter conflicts with healing guilds and monasteries. This tension between folk medicine and academic physicians created a shadow economy of remedies, with this honey garlic syrup passing secretly between communities, as official doctors failed to stem the plague's tide. A testament to how necessity and observation often outpaced institutional knowledge. Can a roadside weed unlock prophetic dreams? Our 12th recipe explores how midwives served roasted dandelion root tea to invoke clear night visions. Before childbirth, helping mothers glimpse their unborn child's face and future. This common plant, its name from French dent de lion, or lion's tooth, was far from ordinary in medieval healing traditions. Midwives would harvest roots under the dark moon, careful to keep them intact, then slow roast them until they turned deep brown and developed a rich, almost coffee-like aroma. This transformed the root's biochemistry, enhancing its natural compounds. The ritual surrounding this tea was as important as the brew itself. Expectant mothers would drink it from special scrying bowls, dark ceramic vessels that reflected their face on the liquid surface, while participating in a night-long vigil where elder women shared birth wisdom. This combination of mild sedative effect, suggestibility, and cultural expectation created powerful dream experiences. Modern herbalists recognize dandelion root as nutrient-rich and mildly diuretic, potentially helpful for pregnancy-related water retention. What medieval women saw as prophetic visions, we might now understand as deep REM sleep, enhanced by ritual and community support. This humble tea represents how the line between physical remedy and spiritual practice often dissolved in medieval healing. A wisdom our modern separation of body and mind might do well to reconsider. Could ashes and mint grant a Hollywood smile before Hollywood existed? Our 13th recipe uncovers a medieval dental secret: charred hazel bark, sea salt, and crushed mint leaves combined into a tooth powder that left teeth startlingly white, though at a cost modern dentists would shudder to consider. Medieval oral hygiene was surprisingly sophisticated despite its harsh methods. Healers carefully selected young hazel branches, stripped them of bark, and burned them in clay vessels until they formed a fine black ash. This was then ground with sea salt crystals and dried mint into a gritty powder that would be applied using linen cloths or fingers. The science behind this abrasive mixture was accidentally sound. The alkaline ash neutralized bacterial acids, while salt acted as a preservative and mild antiseptic. Mint provided not just freshness, but antimicrobial properties that combated the microorganisms causing tooth decay. Users would report visibly whiter teeth after just a few applications. What these medieval beauties didn't realize was the gradual erosion of tooth enamel from repeated scrubbing with such harsh materials. For nobility, a gleaming white smile became a status symbol worth the eventual pain, showing they could afford exotic spices and special preparations. This cosmetic arms race eventually evolved toward gentler chalk-based pastes, but not before countless courtiers sacrificed dental health for social standing. Could a bowl of soup fend off the evil eye? Our 14th recipe reveals a talismanic meal of leeks, eye-bright herbs, and boiled egg whites, consumed at dawn specifically during solar eclipses when malevolent forces were believed strongest. This protective food emerged from the terror that gripped medieval communities during celestial events. Eclipse folklore, recorded in 12th century chronicles, described how heaven's eye closing created a window for curses and ill fortune. Monastery kitchens and village-wise women alike prepared this special stew as communal protection. The recipe followed strict sympathetic principles. white foods to combat darkness, eye-shaped ingredients to strengthen vision against invisible threats. Eye-bright herbs, still used today for eye complaints, were simmered with sliced leeks, representing rings of protection, and egg whites boiled firm enough to hold their circular shape, all in a broth of clear spring water gathered before sunrise. While modern minds might dismiss this as superstition, the nutritional benefits were real. This protein-rich, vitamin-packed meal provided genuine immune support during seasons when fresh food was scarce. Over centuries, this ritual meal evolved into the traditional spring tonics and Easter foods still prepared today. Its protective origins largely forgotten, but its nourishing benefits still serving communities through seasonal transition. What truths surface in a cup, reflecting only moonlight? Our final recipe explores how rainwater collected in silver bowls during the full moon was mixed with mugwort and drunk to see tomorrow, a divination method both condemned and secretly practiced by the highest levels of medieval society. The preparation demanded precise timing. Silver vessels, never touched by artificial light, were placed outdoors precisely as the full moon rose. Only rain that fell directly under moonlight could be used, then filtered through linen and stored in crystal vials. 3 nights before the divination, dried mugwort would be steeped in this lunar water, creating a pale green elixir with a bitter, dreamlike taste. This recipe stands at the fascinating crossroads of astral magic and Neoplatonic philosophy, where medieval minds believed celestial influences physically imprinted themselves into earthly substances. Silver's association with the moon and its genuine antimicrobial properties gave scientific credibility to this mystical practice. Mugwort, containing thujon, related to the compound in absinthe, does indeed alter consciousness in sufficient quantities. The Malice Maleficarum of 1487, the infamous witch hunter's guide, specifically condemned this elixir as demonic, proving how feared its vision-inducing effects had become. Yet court records show even bishops and nobles sought it before making momentous decisions, a testament to how medieval pragmatism often trumped official doctrine when the future hung in the balance. These resurrected brews blur the line between folklore and pharmacy, proof that history's cauldrons still simmer beneath our modern labs. What hidden potions might be waiting in your own kitchen pantry? If you crave more arcane uncoverings, subscribe now and join us as we explore the forbidden grimoires that changed history forever.